They laughed at my flood wall. They threatened me with fines. They called it ugly, pointless, and a desperate man's joke. And then, just minutes later, the storm hit. The same HOA board members who mocked me were screaming as water rushed through their doors, destroying everything they thought they controlled. This is the story of how arrogance met physics, and lost. I moved into Willow Creek Estates for one reason: peace. After 30 years of working with my hands, fixing pipes, drainage systems, and underground infrastructure, I wanted quiet. A small house. A place where storms could roll in without drama. Where my wife could sit by the window, drink her tea, and not worry about what was happening outside. What I didn't realize was that I wasn't buying a home. I was buying into an HOA kingdom. Willow Creek Estates looked perfect from the outside. Manicured lawns. Identical mailboxes. Stone entrance sign polished weekly. But underneath that polished surface was a board obsessed with control and completely ignorant of the land they were sitting on. The HOA president was a man named Richard Hale. Mid-50s. Golf polos every day. Spoke like he owned not just the neighborhood, but the people in it. His house sat on slightly elevated ground near the front entrance. The rest of the board lived nearby, also elevated. The rest of us? Lower ground. Closer to the natural drainage basin. And when it rained, it showed. The first big storm after I moved in flooded half my backyard. Water pooled near my foundation. Nothing catastrophic, but enough for me to start paying attention. I walked the neighborhood afterward. I noticed something strange. Storm drains had been altered. Concrete diverters had been quietly installed. Subtle slopes changed. Water that should have flowed toward the creek was being redirected away from the HOA board's homes and toward ours. That wasn't an accident. So I did what I'd done my entire career. I planned. I pulled permits. I hired an engineer friend to double-check my calculations. And I spent nearly $8,000 of my savings building a flood wall, not a barricade, not an eyesore, but a professionally designed stone barrier with hidden drainage channels that redirected water back to its natural flow. It was legal. It was permitted. And it worked. My house stayed dry during the next storm. That's when the HOA noticed. The first letter came politely. Unapproved exterior modification. The second one wasn't polite. Remove immediately or face fines. Then came the meeting. At the monthly HOA gathering, Richard stood up, smiled, and pointed at photos of my wall projected on a screen. This, he said, chuckling, is what happens when homeowners think they know better than professionals. Laughter followed. Another board member added, looks like a medieval fort. Planning to defend against dragons? I didn't say a word. Richard leaned forward. Remove it within 30 days. Or we'll take action. That's when thunder rolled outside. Phones buzzed around the room. Severe storm warning. Flash flood alert. Richard waved it off. Relax. We've seen storms before. I quietly stood up, nodded once, and left. 5 minutes later, the rain started. Not a drizzle. Not a shower. A wall of water. Sheets of rain slammed into the ground so hard you could see it bouncing. Within minutes, water began flowing exactly where it always had, until the HOA altered it. Except this time, my wall sent it back. I stood at my window, watching runoff redirect cleanly away from my foundation, sliding into channels that led straight toward the elevated homes. Toward Richard's house. My phone rang. Then again. Then again. I ignored them. Outside, chaos erupted. Neighbors ran through the rain. Cars stalled. Water climbed curbs like it was alive. And then, screaming. Richard's garage flooded first. Water surged under the door like it had been waiting for permission. Basements filled. Hardwood floors buckled. Expensive furniture floated. The HOA board panicked. They knocked on my door. When I opened it, Richard stood there soaked, pale, shaking. "You need to take that wall down," he yelled. "You're flooding us." I looked past him. His driveway was a river. "No," I said calmly. "Your illegal drainage changes are flooding you. My wall just stopped protecting you from the consequences." City trucks arrived within the hour. Inspectors walked the property. They followed the water. They measured slopes. They pulled records. And they found everything. Unpermitted drainage modifications. Environmental violations. HOA misuse of authority. Richard tried to argue. Then he tried to threaten. Then he went quiet. By morning, fines were issued. Orders were given to restore natural drainage. Investigations opened. Within a month, Richard resigned. Within 3, the entire board was replaced. My wall still stands. And every time it rains, the neighborhood remembers a simple truth. You can bully people. You can manipulate systems. But water doesn't care who you are. And it always finds its way back.